big crash. Felix Rosenqvist. Oh my goodness.
I bet I know where that is. I think that's onto the back straightaway. And what we've seen in years past is a driver hitting the right front on the concrete wall at the apex.
That is huge.
You can see it's pushed the wall and the fence. In fact, it kicked the tires all the way over the chain link fence. And if you hit the inside wall, it can break the steering rack, and then you have no control and you go head on into the barrier.
There is a stretch, there's a short chute, but it's a fast chute between turns 5 and 6. And this is on the exit of turn 6. You saw the Arrow McLaren SP driver visor up. That signifies to the AMR safety team and race control that he is conscious. But that was a big one.
It looked like he's in pretty serious pain there. And it looks like the front end of the nose pretty heavily compromised. Let's see if my theory holds true. Oh boy, almost went out of the park. It's right on board.
It sounded like the throttle stuck.
Holy cow, the throttle did stick. That was bizarre. It sounded like he went to a downshift and then had wide open throttle on the limiter as Sam Schmidt, the team owner, looks on.
That was frightening.
So I don't think that had anything to do with the steering rack.
The 29-year-old Swedish driver just took maybe the scariest ride of his life. And that's not something we see often in IndyCar IndyCar racing, a stuck throttle. It's very, very rare.
And I'm afraid that nose of the race car was able to penetrate underneath or through the tire barrier, and it's just concrete block on the other side, and you can see how much the barrier's been pushed back. Normally this just runs straight, and right here it's kinked out. That's how much force Rosenqvist had into the fence, and this is going to take a while to clean up. So the AMR guys are going to try to stabilize Rosenqvist before they attempt to extract him.
Look at that one concrete barrier. Just totally pushed over. I mean,
those are anchored together,
yeah.
Lee. There are steel inserts that connect the wall. There's rebar that loops into the wall, and then a steel post that goes down through the middle, and it's just blown that completely open.
I mean, the amount of inertia that is required to do that is colossal, to say the least. But we showed you that onboard replay, and it was a frightening ride for Felix Rosenqvist.
And a big front impact like that, the concern is always the feet and legs.
This is Felix's third year in the NTT IndyCar Series, a highly accomplished international driver. This is his first year with Arrow McLaren SP. And he was on a really good run today.
So strange. I've never really, it was so weird that he grabbed a downshift and then the throttle stuck wide open. That's such a bizarre situation. Usually stuck throttle is immediately when you're trying to lift off the throttle, but we heard the engine decelerating, then the downshift was requested, and the moment it kicked down in a lower gear, it's like the thing just took off, probably overpowered any chance to slow the car down, and literally accelerated straight off into the fence.
And look at the, I mean, we have seen the remarkable job that the AMR safety team does for many, many years. But look at the compromised position that the car and Felix are in for them to perform their duties. I mean, it's just even more complicated.
All the training for AMR, these guys train extensively. They practice before every race weekend. The same crew travels with the IndyCar Series. They are absolutely the best in the world in motorsports at handling these situations. But to your point, they aren't used to doing this when the car is at a 45-degree angle pointed to the sky. Now it's going to take a while for them probably to deal with the extraction here as they start the process, and then they're going to have to take time to repair the track over there. You can see all of the water, the kind of residual water. We had pretty heavy rain last night. All that water was trapped inside the tires, so that came out. That'll have to be cleaned up as well.
For those of you just joining us, this first leg of the double-header weekend here in Detroit, the Chevrolet Grand Prix, we are now under a red flag condition. You're looking at the Arrow McLaren SP Chevrolet of Felix Rosenqvist, 29-year-old Swedish driver. He is alert. We've seen that from our own camera shots. And the AMR safety team are just trying to extricate him safely out of there after an incredibly confronting. The speed was unabated, and he just collided with a stuck throttle straight into the tire barrier, the concrete barriers, the fence, as the car climbed forward. We knew straight away that Felix was conscious as he was able to raise his visor, but seemed in immense pain. By just his expression, his facial expression.
Looks like we're going to be in a red flag situation as cars come to a stop on pit lane.
So everybody lines up in their respective order as we pause for Felix to be extricated from his car in the very, very good hands of the AMR safety team. And again, Townsend, I come back to the point, and you know it all too well for your years of racing. Is that a stuck throttle in an IndyCar is something that we just don't often see?
It's a fly-by-wire throttle, so it's not a mechanical cable like it used to be from the throttle pedal back to the engine. So effectively, it's like an electronic switch, like the dimmer switch for your lights on the house.
Yeah, sure.
And I just can't imagine what all of a sudden could have created that situation. You know, is there any chance that his foot got trapped getting on the brake pedal? We don't know. And they're taking their time, as they should, to slowly pull Felix out of the race car. And there he comes.
So again, for those of you just turning on to watch this Chevrolet Detroit Grand Prix, you're looking at the AMR safety team holding Swedish driver Felix Rosenqvist. They've put the neck collar on him, and they're about to place him on the stretcher after a really frightening accident at turn 6 on this 14-turn course.
And Diff, if we can take any positive from what we're watching, it's that it's methodical, it's slow.
Yes.
It's not urgent.
Yes.
And that is a positive in an otherwise very, very difficult situation. But the AMR team just taking their time to extract him carefully, get him on the gurney, into the ambulance, and almost certainly off to the local hospital by helicopter.
And I can tell you that before the drivers stepped out of their respective cars, while we certainly enjoy the competitiveness and the fierceness of these guys when they race each other, this is a pretty small, tight-knit family, and each and every one of those drivers would have radioed into their team saying, "Is Felix okay?"
Absolutely. And this is something that we're more used to seeing on an oval, not so much a street circuit, because the speeds are lower here. But you have to remember, in a right-hand corner like that, still probably going 80, 90 miles an hour. In Felix's case, accelerating,
that's
which
right.
is the worst.
As history shows, everyone that's
You know how tired some of these drivers are.